Hi everyone, my name is Miss Mary, and we are starting a new series called You've Got a Friend in Me. The first lesson that we are going to learn about today is called To Tell the Truth. Right now, we are going to begin by looking at a very famous guy in the Bible, King David. You might remember that when David was a young boy, he killed this huge giant named Goliath. Many years later, he became the king of Israel. David was a godly man. He loved God and always tried to do what was right. One day, King David was up on his roof and he looked over to a nearby house and saw a very, very pretty woman. He wanted to know who she was, so he had one of his servants summon her to his house. King David fell in love with this woman, but there was one huge problem. This woman was married. So King David did something horrible. He found out that the woman's husband was a soldier in his army, and King David ordered the woman's husband to go into the front lines of the battle because he knew he would be killed. And he was. King David had this man killed just so that he could marry the man's wife. King David had done a horrible thing, but it was a secret. No one knew what he had done except for God. God spoke to one of King David's friends, the prophet named Nathan. Do you remember what a prophet is? A prophet is like a male person for God. God tells the prophet a message, and then the prophet delivers the message to the people. So God told Nathan exactly what David had done. Now, Nathan had a decision to make. Would he confront David? Or would he keep what he found out to himself? If he confronted King David, it might make the king angry. Nathan knew that if he was any kind of friend to David, he was going to have to confront him with the truth of what he'd done. He couldn't let David continue in his sin without confessing it to God. Nathan understood something that we also need to understand. Telling the truth to my friend isn't always easy. Telling the truth to our friends is not easy, but if we are going to be the right kind of friend, we have to be willing to tell our friends the truth when they are doing wrong. So Nathan goes to King David's court and told him a story. Nathan said, "Once there was a rich man and a poor man who lived in the same town. The rich man had everything he could ever want, but the poor man only had one small lamb of his own. He loved his lamb very much. It grew up with his children, and the poor man would cuddle it in his arms. One day, the rich man had a guest arrive at his house for dinner. Rather than killing a lamb from his own flock, the rich man went and took the little lamb from the poor man, killed it, and served it to his guest." After he heard the story, King David was angry. He said, "Whoever did this must be punished." He didn't realize that Nathan was using this story to represent what David had done. The lamb in the story represented the woman that King David had stolen from this poor man, and then had the man killed so he could marry her. King David was angry, but now it was time for Nathan to tell him what the story was really about. Nathan looked at King David and said, "You are that man! God gave you everything you could ever ask for, and you went and had a man killed so that you could steal his wife from him." Why would Nathan do this? Why would he tell David the hard truth about his sinful ways? Was it because he wanted to make King look bad? Of course not. He loved David and wanted him to make things right with God. You see, truth-telling should be motivated by love. When we tell our friends the hard truth about sin in their life, We have to do it because of our love for them, not because we want to get them into trouble. If we don't speak the truth in love, then we are not acting like a friend. We are acting like an enemy. A true friend tells the truth because they love their friend and want them to get things right with God. King David fell onto his knees and cried out to God, saying, I have sinned against the Lord. He confessed his sin to God and made things right with God. Nathan is the kind of friend that each one of us needs. We need to choose friends who love us enough to tell us the truth when we are not doing right. We need to choose friends exactly like that. Why is it important to choose friends like Nathan? If I make truth tellers my enemy, I will never grow. If I choose not to have friends who will tell me the truth when I'm doing wrong, then I will never grow stronger in my walk with God. You and I must choose our friends wisely. When choosing our friends, we tend to choose only those who think like us, who act like us, and tell us what we want to hear. That's not always the best decision. King David had a solid relationship with Nathan. When David sinned against God, it was Nathan whom God used to confront David. It wasn't easy. Nathan did so at the risk of his life. But like a true friend, Nathan was willing to tell the truth to his friend David, even if it risked their relationship. I pray right now that we will be able to choose friends like Nathan, but even more importantly, I pray that we will respond like King David when we are confronted with our own sin by our friends. Our power verse today is found in 1 Corinthians 15:33, and it says, Don't be fooled. Bad company corrupts good character. Our big idea today is a friend will tell the truth even when it's hard. So let's review our main focus. We must choose friends who are willing to confront us with the truth. There are some review questions coming up. This is a great time to trip up mom and dad and see if they have been paying attention too. As always, have an amazing week and remember, you got a friend in me. See you next time.
You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead.